Well, hello everyone. Hey, what's happening? Just give us a sec. I'm just adjusting a few things, and I'll be all set. There we go. Oh, out. Audio. Really just need to wait for a few more people, but what is happening, Fish fan? I'll give you a wee present there, White, seeing I know you. Have you got any hangouts at all there, White, if you want to jump on and chat? I could drop the link in if you're interested. Hey Ozzy, what's happening? Nice to see you. See if this works. I might have stuffed this up. I think that's the correct way of doing the link. Not the only one who has to do a bit of cleaning. I'm due a few cleans in a couple of my tanks today. Just hold on a sec. I'm grabbing a knife. No. Scissors will do. Got a shipment plants arriving from a supplier up north of me. Quite good actually, because the ladies won my wife's approval. She adds sweets to every shipment, so my wife's always saying, "Oh, you can order more plants if you want." Suits me. What we got here? Peacock. Hold on, get the rest of it out. It's peacock moss and a couple of bits of Anubias. Also, she was talking to me. Don't worry, I'll show you the plants in a second. Just dealing with this tape. Here we go. She has given me some dry ferts to try, something she's been up to of late. GH Boost, Micro and Macro ferts, along with a comprehensive list of instructions. So I'll pass that and show you guys that in a second once I check chat. Washing the car as you speak. That's not bad. I'd say that'll be what, 25 degrees over there, and what, 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Rightio. So here's the card from the young lady, Aquatic Plants NZ. Good shout out to Jessica Murphy on that. She does a really good product. I'm yet to receive a plant from her that's not up to standard, has any foreign objects in it, algae, or anything wrong with it. Everything is mintly packaged too, actually. Some of the Anubis Nanya, I believe is the correct way of saying it. Another one, and of course, bag of peacock moss. I shall now deposit some of this tank. Now, spray. Yeah, one for you. One for you. There we go. Oh. And as for the ferts, she's just trialing. She'll always have supplies. It's your macro, your micro, and of course your GH boost, which isn't something I really need to worry about. The GH is pretty high, though my KH will bottom out really easily. What's happening in chat? Oh, thanks for that there, White. It's really nice here. Thank you. Well, the other side of it is something arrived in the mail today, and I'm really excited. Amazonas magazine subscription has finally arrived after waiting for it for a while, and I now finally feel part of the aquarium group. I've seen it for years, absolute years. This magazine never thought to get a subscription, and now I finally got around to doing it, and I'm really glad I did. So what's new with you, Ozzy? What's happening in your tanks? Or if you want, you can jump on and fill me in, or type, up to you. I just got to figure out what which logs and what I'm going to put my peacock moss on. It's thrown me a bit out. I wasn't expecting the parcel to arrive yet. For those who haven't seen, let's hold on a second. Seeing that they're out. Let's see if I can get a good angle. There we go. And they've decided to hide behind the Anubis. My new shipment of Pistogramus Bori Lie. That's the male, and that light just does not work. See if that works a bit better.
Hello.
Nah, it doesn't work. Sorry, guys. That's too bright. White's on.
Hi, Mark.
Long time no see.
Yeah, no, well, I'm guessing, do you have Facebook?
Yeah, I do.
No. Yeah, do you want, well, I don't know, there's loads of Facebook groups that show when people are going live, and I'm guessing you don't have it because I never see you in anyone else's live stream, really.
I pretty much only find out with what's on YouTube, because I don't know, well, I know of a fair few groups locally and a couple of forums I'm involved with, but that's about it.
Yeah, I don't know, there's a few Facebook groups, but yeah, you can use YouTube as well, like, I don't know, it just, there's a load of different, like Sergeant Tank Stream, Susan CL, what is this? Susan CL something, CLS, I think it is. Yeah, well, there's Sergeant Tank, if you type that in. There's his, the SLC Aquatics, that's one, Susan's Facebook group. And then there's Fish Tube and hashtag Fish Farm. I don't know, there's a couple of, and then obviously you'll get to see all the different people, and then hopefully if you get on their streams, maybe you can get more people onto your streams. Like,
I found SLCs now.
yeah, what is it? SLC Aquatics.
Yeah, just sent a request to them.
Yeah.
I know there's another guy. I did join his group. I'm just trying to remember what his name was. I'll check my groups list. This could take a while. I've only got to go through about 100 groups in my saved list. Oh, we got a lot of them in New Zealand, but pretty quiet people, so I only look at them just for seeing what's on the trade groups from time to time.
Yeah, these groups are not for selling or buying or anything. They're just for people who use YouTube to upload, so other people know that they've uploaded. Like,
here we go. It's the fella Jason, Fish Tropic. That's the one I'm on. That's the only one from YouTube.
Yeah, that's Fish Tank for Dummies, isn't it? Fish Tank Guide for Dummies. Yeah, I'm on that one as well.
Yeah, no, I found him a wee while ago.
If I don't know if you want or don't want to, it's up to you. Like, but if you add me as a friend or something, I can go around all the channels and then add my friend to the channel, like, which will be you.
Yeah. What's the name? I'll see if I can find you.
Brady Anderson. I'm in the fish groups. Oh yeah, wait. You just found one. I should have just posted your thing there.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think I just saw that name before.
Yeah, Brady Anderson. That's me.
Yeah, I found it. Added. Done.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because I got a few. Like, at the moment, my main projects are just dealing with the Facebook group, because our forum's just launching onto Facebook now. So that's my main projects at the moment.
Few people do stream on Facebook as well, but I don't.
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen any yet.
Yeah, Corey always streams. I know Jimmy just started streaming. Sergeant Tank streams on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a few people that do. I don't know, your friend request hasn't come through yet.
No, it's been added.
Yeah, I'm sure. I swear I see it pop up, like the two people at the top. Like, I swear there was a red mark on it. I clicked on it and there's nothing new there at the moment. So see all of it. Oh yeah, Callum Mac, I got you. Sorry.
That's it.
Yeah, I got you. Respond to friend request, confirm.
Oh, it's good to be finally using a decent computer.
Yeah, you got a new laptop?
Yes. Yeah, I just about, my wife had to sort of tell me to breathe a few times. I nearly picked the Mac up and threw it out the window.
Yeah, desktop PC I am, but I don't. Do you use a laptop for going out and about or not?
Yeah, I do.
All right, yeah, no, that's fine then, because otherwise I would have said you'd have been better off cheaper building or buying a desktop PC instead, like that. Obviously, if you use it for other uses, laptop.
Yeah, well, I got a fellow who can build them, and he did a price that was about a third of the cost, but I can't transport it the same. It's like, nah. Still didn't pay too much for what I got, I don't think. Well, in New Zealand terms, I didn't. Probably worldwide terms, I got screwed. If I remember rightly, you're the one with the baddest, isn't it, White?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have finally got a female.
Oh yeah, I seen you bought it from the shop. Well, it's the same one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
I watched. Yeah, I watched that.
That fella's a rarity nowadays, that shop. Well, I should say a rarity in New Zealand. They're just very rare to have them anymore.
Yeah, I just watched Corey's video and he got some in his last unboxing video, and I was like, oh, nice. America anyway. So.
I just finished a bit of a. I asked one of our importers, "Oh, can you get any other types of betters in?" And they said, "Oh, just your usual fancy ones." And they said, "But that's the only types that actually are out there." Well, flipping to page 56 of Amazonas, there's a different type, just to start with. So I posted that up, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, no, that's too difficult. No, I can't do that." Certainly getting.
There's the tiger baddest as well, isn't there, or something?
Tiger, they're the more darker ones, aren't they, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, they're meant to have stripes, tigers, well, black stripes on them or something, aren't they? I haven't seen them. I just heard about them on Steam Bob's channel. I swear he's got them.
Yeah, I'm just looking at them now. Yeah, they got more of the blue tips to them.
I think I have looked at them once, but I'm not too sure about. I can't think of them off the top of my head, and at the moment I'm still on Facebook.
Has anyone heard from when we used to all catch up on Tim's channel? What's happened there?
I got Tim on Facebook. I spoke to Tim last night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tim's all good. He wants to stream this week at some point.
Oh, yes.
But he's been working on his music channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did have a case of ick in his saltwater tank, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Not something anyone ever wants.
No, in saltwater as well. I'm pretty sure it killed a few of his fish, a good lot of his fish.
Well, it's not really nice because if I remember rightly, I was reading that they say you can cure it. That's not the problem. It's what it can do to the corals you've got. Can pretty much destroy your whole colony.
Yeah, well, luckily enough, his fish tank that had the ick was not his coral tank.
Yeah.
So tank I think is doing good, and he's just bought a new tank, but I probably shouldn't give too much away because he's going to stream, so it's all right. There's only us here, isn't there? He's just bought himself a new 120 gallon tank, so should be good.
Yeah, that's not a bad size.
Well, considering his last one was a 55, I think.
I'll just stir Aussie up with this comment. Guys, my wife has been, because we got a wee block of land not too far away from us, and
oh, nice.
Yeah, well, it's owned outright, and she has been saying, "Oh, we should probably start building." And I said, "Yeah, we could do that," but I said, "What happens if we have to shift Fishroom?" I kind of baited her on it, and she said, "Well, you'll have to build a shed to have it set up to shift into." I said, "Precisely." So from what it sounds like, January this year, we're starting to build the shed. So I'm trying to work out something like 14 meters by probably 6 meters.
Yeah, 6 meters wide, 14 meters long.
Should be able to put one or two.
A few tanks in there.
Just one or two. Oh, now that's an interesting combination, Aussie.
Audi and a Nissan.
Yeah. Okay, so that's taken away the Ford and the Holden debate.
I don't even know what a Holden is, and I'm pretty good with cars as well. So I'm guessing it's either very old or we just don't have them in Britain.
No, you guys do have them. Vauxhall, Top Gear had them. Vauxhall, but it's the sedan with the V8. But I don't know how new you guys got. I think maybe 2008 was one of the ones I saw. You know the old Opel Amiga?
Well, Vauxhall Amiga, yeah.
Oh, I think Opel had made it.
Yeah, European is Opel. British is Vauxhall, but they're exactly the same company, same cars, everything.
Okay, so the Vauxhall Amiga with the 3.8, well, most of the Holdens are similar, different body, but similar rear-wheel drive, American motor, or so American V6 or American V8. So just another
See,
Aussie
Vauxhall
version.
I thought was German, weren't it, or something?
Something like that. I just know you guys had a version of it for a while.
Yeah, we might have, but the name Holden, never heard of it. Well, may have heard of it, but you know, it's not a common. You know, I don't know of it.
Yeah, it won't be common over there. I'd not. Maybe one or two imported, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I've not heard of Holden.
But pretty much.
Audi, Nissan, know them all. Like Holden, not at all.
Yeah, you'd have your Holdens, your Nissans, Hyundais, Toyotas. What about SsangYong?
Yeah, we got that. But what was that second one you said?
Hyundai.
Oh, Hyundai. Yeah, we got that. I swear there was one you said there, and
there was Toyota as well.
Toyota, yeah, we got Toyota, Subaru. I don't know.
Photon.
Fiat. Oh no, well maybe Proton, yes, but not common. Yay! Aquarium cop.
Yeah, another one's joined.
Hey, I know what he's in.
Hello.
I invited a cool.
What's happening, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Sweet.
What time is it there?
Just after 5. 5:20. Yeah. 5:20. Yeah. 5:20 in the afternoon.
9 in the morning.
I have not heard those bird sounds in 14 years.
Yeah, man.
What bird is it?
Probably finches or something like that. I'm trying to see if I could see it. One of these trees. It's normally like cockatoos, crows, rainbow lorikeets.
no.
Yeah, there goes one now.
Else apart from that, they're in Britain, like so. But then that last one, no idea. Rainbow, whatever.
Rainbow lorikeets, like a parrot type thing. I would say.
We don't have them in Britain.
Oh, noisy miners, that's what they are. Fucking chirpy things. Excuse my French. Little chirpy things that annoy you. But yeah, man. These cars aren't small. You can't just. It's taken me this whole time to wash 2 of them. Oh.
Take them to a car wash.
No. I only do it because it's Uber's my job, so I use 1, 2 cars, swap between them. So.
No, that's fair enough. You're an actual driver by trade, like. See, with me, I don't see a point in cleaning cars. What's the point? Like,
I used to do it for a living. I done detailing and stuff like that for a living, but I gave up.
I'll clean my car to go out if there's something special. Apart from that, there's no point. Like, you clean it, it gets dirty by tomorrow. What's the point?
Oh yeah, I used to be like that, but once I started using my cars for work, it's a different story. After
Yeah, no, that's it. I understand that.
but trust me, it's a pain in the butt. But I get like it saves me $50 or something, $55 to get them clean. So you know.
What? $55 in your car clean?
Yeah. Inside and out,
Right.
only, nothing special.
That's 15 quid back home. I don't know what it is here. I haven't had it done like, but it's only £15 back home. Inside and out. £7 to clean the outside. To get someone else to clean the outside of your car.
Sorry? Well, that's a detail though, like, and considering one's an SUV and one's a four-wheel drive, it costs a bit more to do them.
Yeah, you got bigger cars than I got, like, but still.
Yeah.
Volkswagen Golf, 15 quid inside and out, and that's like your carpets cleaned, your seats cleaned, everything.
Yeah, well,
15 quid.
it's about right, because to do this little Audi A1, which is equivalent size to a Golf, yeah, it's like $30 here.
Yeah.
So
that's better. 50 odd quid though. That's extortionate, like, What, $50 odd.
well, when I was car detailing, we used to do outside for $10, 10 Australian dollars.
Well, I was working in Cardiff, which is like, I don't know, capital of Wales or whatnot, right? And it's really busy there. It's like the main town centre or whatnot. Parking is 12 quid a day there. So when I was working in Cardiff, instead of parking and paying 12 quid, I take my car to be cleaned and tidied, cleaned out for 15 quid. And they keep the car for me all day until I got finished work, like, and come out and pick up my car. So for an extra 3 quid, I had my car cleaned at the same time, like.
That's awesome.
That just sounds so cheap.
Yeah. Cheap.
But cheap, like 15 quid.
Yeah, 15. Yeah.
15 quid is like double. So double that pretty much. So 15 becomes 30.
No, it's like
here.
70 or 80 cent in American cent. I don't know if Australian dollar is higher or lower than American.
Yeah, something like that.
All I know
I thought you were higher than Americans. On your Australian dollar more than the American dollar. No?
No, I think we're below the American dollar at the moment.
Oh, right. Well, yeah.
It's about $50 to get someone to detail your car here. And if you want them to wash, you'll be adding another 20. And that's for like a Hyundai i30.
I had my alloys cleaned, everything. Like, I had my stains in my seat at times, like, and I had all of that vacuumed out, like, not vacuumed, but where they use that, like, wash back thing, like. Yeah, I had all of that done, 15 quid.
Yeah, no, that.
And I used to do it often as well because it was only an extra 3 quid to park and have my car cleaned, like.
Oh, that just wouldn't happen here. It's too, like, just to go through a drive-through where you just get your car washed. That's about $25.
Oh, that's 6 quid, 7 quid.
Yeah, it just won't happen.
Is that at a servo?
Yeah.
Is that just going to a servo one?
That's just a servo one.
Damn.
Though I think Aussie's got cheaper fuel than England.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much are you guys
Still a
paying?
I would
dollar.
assume.
Still
I
a
don't know,
$1.30, $1.40.
It's £1.28 a litre, I believe. So
Yeah, that's about $1.28.
no, £1.28.
That's-
So it's probably, I don't know. It's probably more like your $2 off, like, you know.
Yeah, I think from memory you'd be just on the same as what we're paying. So we're about $2.15 a litre.
Yeah, that's well. I don't know. I'm in Spain at the moment. Petrol is cheaper in Spain, and diesel's even cheaper again. And I actually use a diesel car here, so I use my uncle's Peugeot.
Well, diesel's $1.40, but then you've got to add 80 cents for every 100 k's for tax. Because we have
See,
to
what
buy
is all this tax stuff? In America, you pay like your normal £10 for a tank,
Yeah,
and then tax on top. What?
yeah.
No.
So with our one, we buy the diesel at the pump cost, so they don't put any of the government taxes on it.
Yeah.
And what they do is, for the trucking companies and those who use diesel, they have to pay per 100 kilometres for road user charges for using the road, because apparently the diesel's a heavier vehicle. So they don't tax the diesel, but they tax you with how many Ks you do. So say a truck that is, let's just say 40 tons, he'll be paying about $280 per 1,000 kilometres.
So how do they charge you that though? How do they know you've done 1,000 kilometers? How do they charge you?
So all the trucks have got hubbometers on them, and some of them are GPS, so they'll just keep track. And of course, the trucks get pulled over regularly.
But what about you? Like, how do they tax
For
you?
me, what they do is, unless I purchase it, I have to go in every 6 months for a warrant of fitness. And if
ours is every year, and it's called an MOT.
If our odometer doesn't match what it's supposed to be, well, they'll just notify the police, and you get charged for every K over plus a fine.
What?
Oh yeah.
So what if you? So you're allowed to go over the 1,000. It's just you've got to own up to it and pay it. Yeah?
Exactly. It's like going into negative. So you just always buy ahead so you don't run out.
See, I've never, like, we have tax in Britain, but it's not like you buy anything in the shop and then you go to the counter and they charge you what they wanted for the item, and then tax on top. Like, well, there probably is tax on top, but it's never even heard of, like, you know.
Well, see, when we purchase, you get your receipt. So let's just say I go and buy a tub of feed for the fish. That'll be, say, $14. And there's 15% GST added to that, which is another tax they put on. So 15% is collected by the shop. That shop will store that 15% until the end of their month. And they'll pay the government that 15% from every sales they've done.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably the same as back home with us. But we, like, I don't know if they do, but from the Americans that I've heard talking about it, they're on about like the $1 per gallon sale, and they go down to Petco. So $1 per gallon for a 10-gallon is $10. Yeah, and then you got to pay tax on top. It's as if like the price tag on the item is $10, but then you take it to the till and they charge you tax on top, like, you know.
That's the same as us. So that's exactly the same. So like you buy a car, like, let's just say you go buy your new Volkswagen Golf, it'll be like, say, $27,000 plus 15%.
Yeah, but will it have $15,000 on the thing, and then you've got to go in and pay the, you know, whatever tax on top, or will it have? See, with us, we'll just have dollars, and that's including the tax listed there, like, you know.
It'll come down to,
because we have VAT, which is tax, but the price tag is what you pay, like, you know. The VAT and everything is already encountered in the price tag.
it's so strange. Like, I know
So you never have to worry about how much tax it's going to be. You look at the price, it's 10 quid. You go to the counter, it'll be £10. Tax is already taken off.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's like in some ways it's backwards, but I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I don't get it how they can put a price tag on something for $10, eh? And then you go to the counter and they charge you $10 plus tax. It's like, well, now clearly it's stated it was only $10, like, you know. But, well, that's where it's like in our shops. If it says $10, you go to the counter, you're only going to pay $10, but you've already paid your VAT tax on it. But that's included in that $10.
That's what,
like, you know?
That's what we pay here. So everything, like you go and pay, like I pay $80 for fuel, for diesel, and it's only $80. Tax is included. The GST is added already to it.
Yeah, well, that's the case in everything you buy in Britain. The tax is already on it when you buy it.
Like our petrol's got all taxes
GST.
included. It's only diesel that doesn't. But if I say anything you do shopping-wise, all the invoices, all the receipts have got 15% added to it. It's just irritating. But what bugs me is like, I can't afford a pay rise at the moment because the moment I get a pay rise, I'm putting 33% tax plus 15% GST. I'm worse off than if I was paid $5 an hour.
Yeah, no, my friend was that. She was on a good paying job and then she could have had a pay rise, but she worked it out. And even if she had a pay rise after tax, she'd actually have less money than she had now, like, you know?
I just said to them,
because she went over the threshold. Like, if you were in like £20,000, for example, a year, like, you only get charged say 15% tax or something. But if you make over that 20,000, you get charged 30% tax or something like that. Like, you know, I'm not sure how it works, like, how it worked out, but I know she would have been worse off earning more money. Because it wasn't that much extra, like it was only a little bit extra, but then it would have pushed her over the tax rate for the year, like, you know, and therefore it would have been 30% tax instead of 20% tax, like something like that. Like,
my foreman, he didn't do the maths. He didn't think about it. His first paycheck, once he got the pay rise to foreman, was about $300 less than normal. And he said to them, "Oh, what's wrong with my pay?" And they said, "Oh, no, that's what it is. That's what it works out. You've got your pay rise." He said, "But it's $300 less." And they said, "Oh, yeah, you're on 33% tax."
Yeah.
So he said, "Well, what do I need to do to get a pay reduction?" but here's the real kick in the teeth. If I go out and be what we like for us as a contractor, I'll just say work the year, pay my tax, pay my GST, but I'll only end up paying 3% tax. And I could still be earning exactly the same money as I would with my pay rise. But I'm only paying 3%, none of this other tax. And that's working as a business.
I don't know, man.
It's really...
I don't know.
It's like you try and be honest and just help society. Yeah. You get kicked for it.
That is exactly it, man.
It shows in some ways you're not to be dishonest just about, but oh well.
The more you give them, the more they take from you. It's as simple as that. Like, you know, the more you try and give to societies, the more society tries to take back. Like.
Precisely. It's like this fella, Dad knew of an Oz. He made a mistake when he was in business. He realised he had miscarried some digit. He had not paid something like $100,000 in tax for 3 years as a company. Well, he was stupid enough to go and tell them, "I've missed this payment." Oh, they were all good about it. They also charged him 3 years late penalty and ended up costing him about $200,000. But if he kept his mouth shut and retired, they'd never noticed it the whole time. They took his house, took everything from him, but they said, "Oh, thank you for being honest."
Yeah, yeah. What was it? We went to Amsterdam. Was it 3 years ago, whatnot? And Lauren spent, you know, good 800 quid or something like that in Amsterdam. Come home and the bank had put it all back in there for her, saying, and sent her a letter saying, like, something about like dodgy transaction or something, like, you know. It wasn't. It was Lauren, like, but she just put the letter in the bin and just carried on as if she'd never seen it, like, you know.
Sometimes things just happen. Just let it be.
Yeah, no, she had a free holiday. Well, she, you know, she had free 800 quid spending money in Amsterdam from it, like, you know.
A technical glitch.
Yeah, she didn't tell them that. Well, as far as they know, she didn't even, you know, she didn't get the letter and she knew nothing about it, like, you know. I was saying anyway, like, if they asked her, she would have given it back, like, and said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know nothing about it," like, but like in Amsterdam. But because they never officially asked her any more questions apart from that one letter, which she ignored, and then that was it, like, you know, that was it. They put the money back in her account, and, well, the money was already there when we got home from Amsterdam. So.
Well, so I used to do farm management with dairy farming here. I took the job, and the job's pays 100,000 a year. But the trouble is, 100,000 a year, you're only bringing in about 77,000 a year, roundabout. And it's sort of like, well, I'm not really wanting to earn that much when I can actually get more. And 100,000 a year is some pretty decent money here. So I said to the boss, pay me 48,000. But what's left at the end of the year, give me in cows, so I own on the farm. And at the end of the year, I got payout from the farm, which you'd hand in cash. And that was certainly very good trade-off, because when you go to quit, well, you own yay amount of cows, which are worth $2,500 each. So you've actually got your whole herd.
Yeah, and you can pay tax on them.
Exactly.
All right, guys, I'll be back in a sec.
Okay.
All right, mate.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, good idea, mate. Although 100,000 a year is, well, I know we worked out the Australian dollars less, like, but your average wage in Britain is like, well, the lowest wages are like 15 to 20 grand. Wage is like 30 grand to 40 grand. And then, yeah, if you're in 100 grand a year, you're a doctor or something, like, you know.
There was
you're
one
a lawyer or something like that. Like.
There's one downside to it though, is the average day was about 18 hours, and if there was one stuff up with the farm, I was liable for any of the expenses. So it sort of came at a cost. You have to really keep your mind on the focus.
Yeah, well, that's it. You're on a good paying job for a reason, like, you know.
I did it for a while, and I just sort of quit because I ended up getting divorced and separated. So I just thought, oh, I'm going to try something different.
Yeah. I'm hoping you get your fish route. Like, I'm hoping you're able to make some good money off your fish, like, you know.
I'm not really too worried about the money. It's more.
You specialize in all small fish and everything, which is what I like at the moment.
For me, the biggest problem is.
Do you think you'll get into?
What's that? Sorry.
Go on. I was going to say, do you think you're going to get into bigger fish if you get more room? Or. You know?
Personally, like I have kept and bred Severums in the past, but for me, the biggest I'd be going for would be the discus. That'd be it. I've not really got a fascination for the big stuff.
I actually forgot about the discus. Yeah, they're about a right size. Like I don't like anything bigger than that, really. Well, it's not that I don't like them. I do. It's just I think it's a waste of room because I could have 1,000 little fish, or well, like 100 little fish, or say, 5 or 6 big fish in a tank, like, 100 little fish.
It's like saying, oh, I'm going to get a 50-gallon tank and you put in 100 Tetras. It looks really good, but you might get away with 2 convicts otherwise. It's like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get 1 Oscar in there or something like that, and it's still too small for it or whatnot. Like, you know.
Yeah. That's why I like the Epistogramma. I can set up a small 15, 20-gallon tank for a pair or a trio, depending on which type they are. If I've got problems,
Borellii is what I've heard them pronounced as well.
Borellii.
Borellii, yeah, something like that.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah, I heard you saying it in the last one trying to pronounce them, and I'm not even saying my pronunciation is right. It's just what I heard off Steampot, which is probably wrong as well. Like, but
no, but it sounds
that's
like
what I heard them pronounce it.
Eventually we'll get there. Latin's not really my main language because I didn't really study it. But, oh,
What?
no, I quite. That's why I like the Epistogramma, because you still get your cichlid and the attitude of bigger fish, but they're much more manageable and easier to deal with in the size tank.
Agreed. I had Epistogramma agassizi and Epistogramma cockatooey, and my Epistogramma cockatooey unfortunately passed for some reason. Quite a few of my fish did at the time as well. I don't know what happened. They all got fat and died. Well, not all of them, but like 6 out of, you know, God knows how many fish I got now in there. Like, you know,
How old?
And you what?
How old do you think they are?
He could have been quite old. To be fair, he was much bigger than like I've got my Epistogramma agassizi and I got my Crebensis as well, like, and that, and he was massive compared to them, so a bit older. But I didn't have him amazingly long. I know that, so his age with me wasn't old, but from before I had him, you know, like, and he was already fully coloured up, full size when I had him. So
yeah,
and I haven't seen any more in the shop since, unfortunately. Yeah, the attitude of the Epistogrammas, like, I like the attitude on them because I got rams as well, like that. And the cichlid attitude I do like, but I don't like the normal size on them. So yeah, the little ones like the Crebensis and Epistogrammas and rams and stuff like that, they're nice. I like them.
Well, see, with my ram, if I put garden worms in there, he just turns into an absolute monster. As soon as he finds a garden worm, he just grabs anything in front of him. He'll just turn into a ram and keep ramming them out of his way and just try and find a corner where no one's going to try and steal it from him. Like, such attitude from a peaceful fish that just minds his own business as soon as a worm comes into the tank.
What was that? Your Epistogramma?
No, I've got a Bolivian ram and with my discus.
All right, Bolivian ram. Yeah. My rams told me that like rams can be aggressive to other fish and that. I've not seen my rams attack any other fish at all apart from more rams, because I got 5 rams in the tank, 2 pairs and 1 that unfortunately is just swimming around on his own, right? Well, on her own. Yeah, 2 pairs of rams attacking each other. Like, one of them's taking over the left-hand side of the tank, the other pair is taking over the right-hand side of the tank, and all they ever do is fight themselves. I've never seen them go after any other fish. Epistogrammas will nip at my rams if they get too close, but my rams don't nip after any other fish.
I've heard of people saying, oh, the Epistogrammas, oh, they're an aggressive cichlid. Oh, you don't really want to put them in there. They're a cichlid. All cichlids are aggressive. It's a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
Some, yes, definitely.
I was watching. Yeah. And it's also attitudes as well. You may, I mean, not a turtle, for example. I got my turtle in with fish. He won't touch anything, like. living or dead. Like, you know, when I left my fish tank with my uncle for 2 weeks and come back, my uncle had overfed and my tank was black. I had like 6 dead fish, two dead bowler sharks. My roseline sharks were dead, and I don't know. There was a few fish that were dead in there, and my turtles didn't even eat them. Like, wouldn't touch them. Like, admittedly, he was overfeeding, so that could have been a cause as well. But yeah, my turtle won't even attack, or you know, my pleco literally like pushes him about in the tank, like, you know. So yeah, I was told not to do that. Like,
I've gone through a lot of discussions on the forums, and a lot of the time I've seen people go, "Oh, this species is aggressive." If you start really probing the question, start asking and getting proof of what things look like. When I introduced a couple of my tank and Yukon cichlids to their tank, the pre-existing batch that were there was going to be an inevitable territorial clash.
yeah.
As soon as I put them in, I let them be for a couple of days to battle it out. As soon as I could pick who's definitely dominant of the new and the old, I added new rocks in their individual battled out claims, just shifted a few rocks, added a couple of new, changed a few site barriers. Within a few hours, that was it. They didn't care anymore. There was no longer a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, mate. I had my turtles from babies, and they grew up with fish. But well, I feed them dead, dried fish, and that float on the surface, and they eat them all the time, like, and krill as well, dry krill.
So
and
like,
they eat them, but they won't go after any of the living fish.
See, like, that's the difference
Or even
between
the
site barriers and areas for cichlids to just vanish. Like, that's the dominant female just popping out of the rock there, and she's taking that whole side of the tank. And right there are the two
I
subdominant.
haven't got my camera on, so if you want, I just noticed on YouTube my picture keeps flashing up. So if you want everyone to see your tanks, which would be better because I don't even have a camera on.
Yeah.
So on Hangouts, change it so it's you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
don't even know how to, but.
Hang on, see if I can figure out how to do that. Just a sec.
There's no point showing my picture on YouTube.
Oh, fair enough. Just give me a few seconds. Right, how do I do this? Wrong. Oh, well, you can actually see it now.
Yeah, if I don't talk, then then my picture won't come up. But there is a way to set it so it sticks on yours. I just don't know how to. Ozzy was
reading through it. Yeah, when he's back. But yeah, what I've found is it's just to do with keeping your site barriers, your tank set up, try and imitate nature or a biotope as best you can, and a lot of the cichlid problems, even up into other species issues, resolve.
Yeah. Is it,
I've gone through lengthy debates on the forums about red-tailed sharks being aggressive. Well, every single one I've kept has never attacked anything. But the difference is all the tanks have been set up heavily wooded, heavily planted, and they're also quite large. So the shark's got no fear of territory, no fear of having to fight for its area.
Dan,
and I also try to... Yeah?
I just seen Dan, the happy fish guy.
Ah, hello.
I was just sneaking in to say howdy, howdy, y'all.
Hello.
You can't sneak past me, mate. I see you.
What kind of trouble is everybody causing tonight?
Oh, very little.
Yeah, no trouble here.
I seen the aquarium guy was here, so I thought I'd have to come on here and give him some trouble.
Aquarium guy. You want to know aquarium cop?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how he gets away with causing all that trouble. Well, actually, I do. It's because he's a cop.
Oh, well,
See,
he's a good sport.
That's just to make him start telling alpaca jokes.
He does keep things clean most of the time. Pretty good.
So, Mac, what kind of fish you raise?
A few types, pistogramas. Trying to see if I've got female scarlet badders. I'm pretty sure I have, so they'll be some of the list. Various Tanganyikan and cichlids.
Definitely cool.
I'm mostly just I'm just waiting for more money so I can expand a bit and add more tanks.
Scarlet badders are egg scatterers, are they not?
Yes.
Yeah. So, how are you planning on breeding them? You know.
Well, that's my plan is to find the male, female. I've got to go through and check how their courtship works. I'm going to set up quite a bit of moss on the substrate in one of my 11 gallons with a fair amount of leaf litter, and then just let them be in there for a while, see if they do start a courtship. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. And take them out and see if anything happens over a few weeks.
Yeah, I was thinking, have you seen Lucas Brett's way of breeding tetras and stuff like that? Net thing in a tank.
Yeah, I have. I've seen that one.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you were going to do anything like that, or if you had a bare bottom tank and then like they do with the spawning mop or something like that. Like I
haven't got a bare bottom yet. I could probably look at that when I start.
I like what you do. I do. And as well, you said they're biotopes, and they're not technically biotope. Biotope would be exactly the same substrate from where they come from, same plants that come from the area, everything like that. Like, but they're an ecosystem, yes, but they're not a biotope.
A couple of them, well, apart from the sands and the water, the plants are all from the same location, of course, growing here. A couple of them I've got are actually exact. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I thought I'd just mention it. I heard you saying it on the last one. I thought, well, there's a lot of people out there which would like be picky on it, going, oh, that's not a biotope, like, you know, that's not from there or whatever, and you know, ecosystem, yeah, by all means, they're good ecosystems, but biotope would mean you know, all the proper stuff from that area, like.
You try and do proper stuff in that area in New Zealand, you just about may as well sign a certificate and enter yourself into jail. Oh, you got to be.
Unless you're from that area, right? Well, I don't. Some states in Washington, you're not allowed to bring stuff home, I suppose. And I don't know if it's the same with you there, but.
Oh, here we've got a pretty good list, but the shops are so lazy they don't want to bring sweet stuff all in. So they pretty much only bring 10% of the entire list in. Then you've got the issue of going through plants. Like, from what I understand, we're not allowed to import any timber in that's aquarium trade. So all of the types that are in here, you have to get yourself. We're not technically supposed to collect rocks from anywhere in New Zealand without a permit. So it's quite an interesting drama. When it comes to plants, if it can grow here, it's not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
So sometimes you sort of
not allowed to collect rocks.
No, you've got to go and get a council permit for it.
It's probably the same in Britain, because in Britain, every bit of land is owned by someone, a corporation, or the government. So no matter what you do, if you go onto any bit of land and take anything, you're stealing off of someone or something, like, you know.
See, a lot like the rivers, beaches, and quite a few of the parks are all Queen land, so we're all allowed to go on them without permission any time of day or night, recreationally. We also can take from them, but then we've got our Maori rights, which sort of throw a curveball at it. So if there's something of interest to them in that area, then you've got another problem.
I know you're not allowed. Oh, there's VPK. Nice. I know in Britain you're not allowed. Like, you could take a few rocks off of the beach, but I know you're not allowed to go down there and just start filling your car full of rocks, like, you know.
Yeah.
Pebbles, like if you wanted to, if you wanted like a pebble garden or whatnot, you're not allowed to just go down there and start taking wheelbarrows full, like, you know. But you could. You're not going to get told off for just taking a few rocks, like, you know. Like
here, you just sort of just go and do it and don't say anything, or you keep out of sight. But of course, there's always the fun police. Someone will be a fun police to come in and ruin it eventually.
Yeah.
It's a bit different. Like, we got river braids which constantly getting rocks being refilled from the mountains, and the way our rivers are, you could take 100 tons of rock out, it doesn't even notice it. Sometimes they get so much shingle come down from the floods, they've actually got to dig it out so they can actually get the river to flow properly, instead of it going underground and moving somewhere else, or damming up.
I don't think we've had that issue that I know of. Not Britain. Our rivers, well, I mean, we get floods, like, but and I suppose we sometimes it can dam up and flood like that. Not often. It's mainly due to just heavy rain we get floods, and like there's not much wildlife, natural. Like, there's a lot of farmland in Wales, but there's not a lot of forestries or anything like that, you know. So we don't get anything washed down from the mountains, really, like no trees or anything like that. Like, maybe in some parts of Britain. I'm just on about where I know, like, you know.
Yeah. I'm just watching some of my tetras. Looks like they're starting to do a bit of a courtship.
What tetra is? Rummy nose. That looks like.
Oh no, sorry, wrong tank.
Fair enough. All good.
It's the center tank in the rack there. Like, oh, hold on, I'll get the name for them because they come under odd names here. The shops don't actually give the proper name, and I've got to make sure I get the right Latin name.
Ember tetras, I think you had, didn't you?
There are embers in there. There's another type in there as well.
Right.
Okay, there we go. So its normal name is green tetra, but its Latin name is
green tetra will do.
I'll drop a link in to.
I know what tetra you're on about, but yeah, if you want other people to know, that's fine. Yeah. But I know which one you're on about because Corey just got him in his unboxing video, in his last unboxing video, and was on about green in fish is a really hard color to get or something to get into your aquarium.
Are they not common? Are they?
I'm not sure if their green tetras are common or not, but he said the color green to get into your aquarium is hard to get. So these green tetras are a good fish to get if you like the color green in your aquarium. Something along those lines he was on about.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not really getting green, but I'm getting an opaque-ish sort of blue fading into the red. But In saying that, I've got blue LEDs directly above them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you could see a lot of your red coming through on your LEDs, like, you know. What LED is that as well? I just noticed that's an actual LED strip you've got on that one. Oh, and the one underneath it.
Yeah, it's got 2 of them there. I've actually got 4 of them. They're a Chinese clone called Blue Planet. I want to get the some of the American ones. By the time I find a shop that's willing to ship here, these are the same output, same cost. So I just minus the shipping, I just grab them from China instead. So they're just classed as Blue Planet pod lighting strips.
Yeah, I want the Fluval Planted 2.0s, but they're expensive.
Well, here's a fun one for you. You know how you got your Fluval marine light setups, the new ones?
Yeah. Well, I know there are marine ones. I don't know if they've brought out a new one since I left last, but yeah.
Well, it's got the like your Android controller and all that. Well, I think the controller and the light, last I looked in Europe, was something like $250 NZ, roughly. That's what I found on some of the prices. Without the controller in New Zealand, it's over $800.
What?
Add the controller, you can add another $200 to $300 on top of that if you can convince the person it exists.
Yeah, well, you don't want the Aqua Sky anyway. You would want the Fluval Planted 2.0s, wouldn't you? Because you're freshwater planted tank.
I know, but the that's just an example. I've tried to get them to get the planted one, but the shop wouldn't get them.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's. I can get them in Spain, but in Britain they're like 150 quid, like, you know, and in Spain they're like 260 euros. So.
Oh, that's cheap.
Like it's almost like an extra 70. Well, it's like 70 quid or something on top of it.
Well, you know how you got your Fluval FX6 filters?
Yeah, I got one. Yeah.
How much did you pay?
I paid 350 euros or something. 356 euros.
Okay, so well over $1,500 here.
What? What?
Because I've emailed
that's crazy.
I've emailed some shops in England, just copied our price, emailed it to them and said, look, could you do us a favour? Can I buy this off you and get it shipped over? And they've just said with pleasure. And they just shipped it over. I've never had any trouble.
Yeah.
And it's so much cheaper.
Yeah, that's what. Good point. That.
I think it's more near the shops. A lot of the people go, oh, it's the shops having to pay for the shipping. Well, the shipping in New Zealand I find cheap here to ship around New Zealand, and the shipping in is actually not that dear.
Well, the lights would be all right, but the Fluval FX6 is quite a big box, so I don't know. And I suppose there is a bit of weight on it as well, so that might be a bit more to ship. But I wouldn't see much problem with the lights.
It's just one of those things. I think because a lot of the people here don't really, we are a wee bit backward in some ways. Some of the people can be quite.
So if I send you out like 4, you could sell them off over your area for like, I don't know, brand new, and I don't know, it depends how much.
Oh, you could send me over a fair few things. I could sell them off for say 50% markup, give you a commission, and still make a fortune and undercut the shops here by at least 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm up for that.
Oh, don't worry, it's something I do already. It's anything I can find that's cheaper, I'll just flog it off here as secondhand, unused, and it's sold within seconds.
Yeah.
The trouble is, all the shops get pissy because they go, oh, you're not supporting local. Well, of course we're not supporting local. It's too expensive.
You're supporting your local post office.
Exactly.
You know?
I must say, the cost to ship live fish here is so cheap. Because I ordered my fish a couple of weeks ago and got them shipped down in winter. So they got shipped down. The temperature's about 0 degrees roughly. Yeah. They were 10 hours. Took 10 hours and they got flown down. It was from Auckland to Timaru, so it's about 1,500 plus kilometres. And not direct routes. We're a mountainous country, so it's not easy to get to. And it was $40. So
well, I know in Britain, like if you go for shops and that, they're like 20 quid, 25 quid. But if you go by people on Facebook and that, they're like, oh, I'll ship it to you, £10 shipping. I've never bought anything. It's just what I've seen on the Facebook posts. My dog's running off.
But no, they arrived well. A few people were saying on a group, oh, yeah, you'll have to get them in the tank and acclimate them real quick because they'll be cold. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not acclimating them to the tank. Their metabolism slowed down, so I'm going to acclimate them to slowly increase the metabolism without shocking them. So get them out of the bag into matching bag temperature water, which is fresh water, new fresh water, 50-50 mix. And then bit by bit increase the temperature. Yeah, it takes a while, but it always seems to work. So if you speed the metabolism up too quick, you open them up to that ammonia shock. Is it ammonia or ammonium shock? One or the other?
I don't know. Shock. I know they get temperature shock. Ammonia shock, I don't know about. I know they get ammonia burns.
I think I've forgotten which one it is. It's ammonia or ammonium. So when they're transported, the metabolism's slowing down, so they're less susceptible to the ammonium in the bag. But once you say increase the temperature on them rapidly, the temperature is the least of the concerns. The metabolism speeds up. It's the shock to the gills and their body once the ammonia starts taking effect because they're becoming hyperactive again.
Yeah, they'd be breathing a lot. Their heart would be beating faster. Everything.
Yeah. I think it was Swiss Tropicals I was reading about it actually quite a while ago. They were talking about it.
Well, what you guys are talking about is a lot of people buy fish at the fish store or they get their fish shipped in. And inside the bag that the fish is in, it's typically a lower temperature than the aquarium. Like, let's say your fish gets shipped in at 70 degrees and your aquarium's like 78 or 80. Most people take that bag and throw it into the aquarium to equalize the water temperature, which raises the fish 8 degrees, which speeds up the metabolism. And if you haven't taken that fish out of that bag, he doesn't have cycled oxygen, and he might have ammonia in the bag. And when you speed up his metabolism, he starts sucking in all that ammonia at an accelerated rate, which isn't good. So what a lot of people talk about doing is changing the bag out. Like you said, Mac, 50% new water. And you want to try to make sure that the water's like, the same within a couple degrees. Like maybe you check your bag and say, oh, it's 70 degrees. Go get some 70-degree water out of the sink, or get some 60-degree water, add some water out of your tank. That's another thing that some people do, is they just grab their 80-degree water out of the tank and pour it into the 70-degree bag. And I don't really like that because it raises that bag temperature. So my personal way, if I have enough, like if I get, like, let's say a half-gallon bag home, I'll go ahead and add like 1/8 of a gallon in of my tank water. And then I'll go ahead and add 1/8 of a gallon in of dechlorinated water that I always have on hand. And basically that way I'm adding into the bag their tank water, and it's offsetting that ammonium spike that could be in the bag. Plus my tank water's oxygenated, so in case they've depleted some of the oxygen in that bag, then they've got, 2 fresh sources. So, but yeah,
I always just flop and drop. I do. I bob them in a tank until they get to the right temperature, and then I just chuck them in a net right over the sink, and then stick them in straight in the tank there.
See, the only thing I don't like
unless
the pop and drop is
something like that.
is I don't know what the hardness of the water is where the fish came from. I don't know if, like, let's say that store is running reverse osmosis, you know, so maybe his parts per million are like 75. My parts per million in my tank is 175. The pH in that guy's tank might be like 6.8. The pH in my tank is like 7.2. So, you know, it's one thing to have like a 2-degree temperature shock, but it's a whole nother thing to have a 2-degree temperature shock, of 4 thing pH difference, and then like a 100 points on the hardness scale difference. So that's where people
I can almost guarantee my water is not the same as the pet stores. Well,
yeah,
I use an RO filter, and if they don't, they're going to have really hard water. And if they do, their RO filter is going to be better than mine, because I've only got a crappy indoor house one, like. So, so I already know our TDS is different, like.
So I saw
that's
video.
a thought, actually. Now, last time I actually tested the TDS in the bag that I got my fish from, yeah, which was tank water from the fish store. My TDS pen wouldn't read it.
Holy moly!
It either had no TDS or so high TDS my pen didn't read. Like, there was no reading my TDS pen at all.
So I think the guy I saw that I liked, basically he brought his fish bag home, and he put it on a scale in his kitchen, and he said, "Hey, look, it weighs 7.1 pounds, which means I've got just about a gallon in here, right?" And then he went over to his tank and he says, "Hey, knowing that I've got just about a gallon of water in here, I'm going to go ahead and reach into my tank with an 8-ounce cup." And he says, "I'm going to go ahead and pour 3 cups of water in here out of the tank." And he goes, "I'm going to make a lot of bubbles in the bag just in case the aeration's bad." Anyway, so then he talked about acclimation, and he basically was like, "Well, it's been 10 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cups into this bag." And he said, "Now this bag is like 1/3 tank water." And, and he said at this point in time, he poured off a bunch of water that was in the bag, because he said it's like, what it is. And then he went ahead and added 2 more cups in, and he said, "This way I'm not trying to add." He said, "Now there's more tank water in the bag than fish water from the fish store." And he said, "At this point in time, I feel safe, doing the plop and drop." And he mentioned that he didn't like to net his fish because it screws up the slime coat.
Yeah, I agree on that. I don't like netting my fish. I'd rather, like, with the smaller fish, I have to net them, because you just can't put your hand in the bag and pick them out like that. With everything like that, I don't use no nets. I just stick my hand in the bag, grab them with my hand, pick them up, and put them in the tank gently, obviously. Like, prefer to use my hand than a net. All right. You wouldn't want to be thrown into a net, have a load of water dumped on top of you, like, and then like jiggled about in a net, and chucked in a tank. Like, nah, I'd rather just be picked up with my hand and straight into the tank.
So I was looking at what DBK was writing in chat, and he wrote some cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
He said that
I've been looking at it.
"Man, I want to get some discus or some other rare fish and able to caution his memory." I think that is awesome, DPK. He talks about nitrite shock. Ammonia makes fish gills not work properly due to hemoglobin getting damaged. Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't think people realize that ammonia actually burns, and it burns the fish's lungs up, and then they can't. That layer where oxygen gets absorbed into the blood, it doesn't function as well. So yeah, you can permanently damage fish with nitrogen burn, and that's why some angelfish and some other fish that don't come from good breeders are permanently stunted.
That's why I like to get my fish out of the bag straight away, pretty much. Like, I put them in my tank for about 10-20 minutes, and then they go, and then plop and drop straight into the tank. Like.
So it says try Nitrazorb or Secam Purigen. It keeps ammonia to 0, and you can regenerate it. I like sea purigen. I was at a fish store a while back, and they put little squares in the bottom of the bag, and I was like, "What's that?" And he says it's such and such, and then the guy says it's just like sea purigen. It sucks out all the stuff in the water before it gets to a level where it bugs the fish. Let's see. You can also try polyfilter, cut a piece and place it in the bag with the fish when you acclimate it to make sure no ammonia is present in the back. That's a good point, DPK. I've asked for them, and apparently they are banned. Can't find them on the list either. Let's see. Oh, wow, they banned polyfilter. Yeah, that's going to be... Is it poisonous, Mac? I wonder what Aquarium Cop is talking about. Either the polyfilter or the ammonia that's present in the bag. Anyway, hopefully this helps out with a little touch of wisdom.
I don't think the polyfilter's banned. I'm guessing he's on about that fish.
Yeah, the Tetra eyes, I got told they were banned, and I've never been able to find them on our import list either.
Tetra.
I'm going to go look this Tetra up.
It's quite a stunning one. Occasionally you do see them pop up in a few videos, but I've always wanted them, but I've never been able to get them. It's just another thing to make me want to move to another country.
Oh, yeah, wow, they're cool, they are.
That's quite the fish.
Yeah, I like that. How big do they get? Small, I think, yeah.
The other thing,
they got different color ones as well.
one of the things I wished we could get here was the blue Galaris. I really want them.
I just bought two types of killifish. Yeah, not a blue Galaris though, unfortunately. I went to the pet store and they had well, there's never killifish there, and they had two different types there. I was just like, how much? He's like 15 quid each, well, 15 euros each. I was like, no, shouldn't really spend that much on them, but I was like, stuff it, I want them. So I bought two of the striped ones, which I don't have a clue which ones they are either. Like, I try and find them now.
So I saw those Norman lamp eyes. Even though they're only $4.50 each, it's been so long since I've seen seen killies in the LFS. I just grabbed a lot.
Yeah, that was me, mate. I'd never seen killies in there, and then I seen two different types in there one day, and I was just like, I'll have both of them. And then I think one of them though is only seasonal. There's one that I bought. I've got 3 females of this and 1 male. Putting in chat now. Yeah. I ain't pronouncing that.
Oh, that name looks familiar. Yes. We can apparently get that one. Someone here has them somewhere, apparently. But
yeah, I just bought them.
I don't think we're allowed to import them anymore. It's just one of those things. If we do still have some of these things that we can't get, people who've got them will never tell anyone because our MPI will just come along and take them straight off them and destroy everything.
Right. Thought they'd want to, well, if they had them, they'd be breeding them and trying to make some money off them. They may not sell you. They should sell you some, shouldn't they?
Not necessarily, and particularly not if they know I'm on YouTube or any social media. That'll be the end of that.
Oh, yeah, agree on that.
It's one of those things. Sometimes here we can be very reclusive for a good reason.
So, Mac, how many fish tanks do you have?
16.
Holy moly.
It's sort of only the start. I've got enough room for about 70. And
Beating you down.
and then
What?
January I'm starting on about 140 square meter shed.
I said he's beating you down.
Only,
You only got 12, haven't you?
only by 2 tanks.
Yeah.
Next year's when the main project starts. I'll start building the proper fish room down the property, which will be I'm hoping to do about 140 square meters.
I'm sure that's the other killifish I got. And when I looked them up, I'm pretty sure one of them is only seasonal or something. So doesn't that mean their lifespan is only a year? The first one, I think, is not seasonal. You know, it lives a few years. But the second one, I think, I'm pretty sure I read something like it was only seasonal or something. I'm pretty sure that's not just breeding. I believe that means they only actually live a year, isn't it? Not positive.
I just had someone ring me up with apparently some of their fish have just had babies and their filter's sucking them up and they're wanting a spare filter. So it looks like
What type of filter are they using at the moment? Can't they just stick a sponge over the intake?
I don't know. I'm just going to find out because, yeah, that's what I'd be doing. Which I have got a bit of sponge.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing to do. Just grab a clean kitchen sponge and wrap that over it, like, you know, for now. I say clean, I should have said new, to be fair. Almost 10.
Oh, that's why I like the air filters. So much more easier.
Yeah. I like my FX6 filter. 4-tank setup. 1 tank doesn't have a filter on it at the moment. It's only got my 2 sparkling Grammies and a load of fry in it. And then I've got 2 tanks on sponge filters and then 1 tank on my FX6 canister filter.
Yeah.
I like the sponge filters, but they're more maintenance than my FX6. But the maintenance on the sponge filters is nothing, whereas the maintenance on the FX6 is so. But I haven't cleaned my FX6 out in months, so you know it's a sort of trade-off.
Well, I cracked open one of my what I've got, Fluval 106.
Yeah.
Had a look inside it. It had been running for 3 months. Sponges were clean. The polishing pad was a wee bit dirty, so I just gave it a quick rinse, put it all back together, left it alone, and sometimes if the tanks are set up right, you don't have to do anything really to them except top them up and keep water changes.
That's it, man. I haven't cleaned out my FX6 filter, and I want to say something like easily for 4 months, maybe even up to 6 months time, like, you know. But I do water changes regularly, and when I do a water change, I check the flow on the outtake of my filter, and as long as it's all good, there's no point, no point taking it apart.
Yeah, precisely.
Hey, I want to show you guys this real quick.
But my sponge filters get clogged up weekly. They get dirty weekly, so very weak.
All right. So I went down to Patco and I got the Fluval sponge. This was $8, right? There's 3 sponges in here. This is made for I don't know, the Fluval 70, right? So I already used one of them. I'll show you what that looks like. There it is. See the blue zip tie?
Yeah.
And there's a power filter. So anyway, real simply, all I did was stick the tube down in there, right? And then I took a zip tie. I only put the black tube to like right here. That way it could suck through all the sponge. And I drilled I pushed a hole through with a screwdriver, and then I just put the zip tie through. You know, but it's actually like right there. Make sense?
Yeah.
And so there's a zip tie that actually holds this on. See the blue zip tie?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so that's what's holding the sponge on.
You know,
So I can,
going around the pipe.
it doesn't. There's no way this thing's gonna come off.
Oh, I see.
And that's because I got all those little babies. That sponge in the back, that's a top fin. And that's an all-in-one filter. And you get a package of 3 of those for $5. And there was carbon in there. And I pulled the carbon out. And I put a bunch of this stuff in there, those bio balls. So not only do I have the foam, but I've got these bio balls. And about every 3 months, I just pull that off. And, you know, I basically just roll the bio balls around in my hand. And it kind of, I mean, they're slimy, but it frees up the space. And then, you know, it takes about, I don't know, for this one to get serviced, takes about 5 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes. Bucket of tank water when I do a water change. So
all I can say is that is so cheap, all that stuff you're saying.
yeah.
So just add 100% on it for us.
So this
110.
Those guys, by the way, those little I went up here and I took this filter out. Right, so the inside of here there was carbon, and I didn't like the carbon for my plants, so I slid a space on top, and I poured a bunch of the bio balls in. And so once in a while, I'll pull these bio balls out. I just pull this tab comes out, and well, if you look, you can see between this thing and the blue thing, there's also a bunch of bio balls stuffed down there, and then there's some of the foam. But yeah, this is a high-graded filter, but that filter, instead of every month going down and buying the $4 sheet or whatever, here's those top fin sponges. There's like 2 of them in there, but like most people, they got to get these like once a month. These are like $4. If I had this, I'd cut the carbon out. And then I'd try to maybe fill that space with ceramic, or when I put it back in, have a nylon of ceramic. Well, like this one. There's my bio balls, and of course it's got a filter. So I just keep cleaning this filter out. This filter's been in there for 6 months. It's been cleaned about 8 times. Let's see what it looks like right now. Yeah. I mean, that's clean enough to keep the flow. Stuffing it back in there. I mean, if I wanted to, I could rinse those, but they're not too slimy. It's about a month old right now. They got color, though.
Well, what? As long as you've got flow, you don't want to clean anything. Well, I don't clean anything unless flow is deteriorated, you know? Because I want as much gunk on it as possible, you know?
When it gets too gunked up, it starts to overflow right here, and I can see that I'm too gunked up.
No, that's fine. Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't clean it unless it stops your flow.
But
if it stops your flow, then yeah, you're gonna have to clean it.
Look how many fish are in that tank. But that whole tank is like plants. That's a 20-watt plant bulb, and then I got a foam up here. But the intake of that is another huge chunk of foam. You can't even see it in the grass. And then the other thing I look at with this tank in particular is I do about a 10% to 20% water change a week because of the high fish load. And if I don't do that, I see those plants, they just start jumping in growth as they're absorbing everything extra in the water.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
So,
to watch Corey's video of the fish store tour with that hasn't had a water change in 25 years.
Yeah, I've watched that one.
I like that. I do. I like it. I love the setups, the ecosystems. Like I think it's, and that's what I would like to do. Instead of doing water changes, just top it off and let your plants do the work.
You see how many snails are in this tank? But it's once again, that's another huge plant load. But that's 23 watts of light. And then of course my favorite tank, because that's what is that? I think this is 52 watts across 30 gallons. But that's a power bar light. I mean, that's a saltwater light. But yeah, for me, I use plants to get all my work done. And what the plants aren't doing, then I got a couple power filters. Like this tank is a double. There's 2 power filters.
Yeah, I say my plants are my in your filter sticking out. That is that heater in the filter sticking out? No.
Oh, that? No, I'm running a UV light right there.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say it's half out of water light. You know?
No, that's a UV light, and I'll just flip that. I'll flip that from one tank to another every once in a while just to clean everything in the water.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So
I don't use UV though. I'll be honest. That's what I was gonna say. My main source of filtration, especially in a planted tank, I don't do gravel vacs, and I don't suck up the fish poop. I leave it in there for my plants. Like why buy more dirt when the fish poop is just basically dirt, isn't it? Like what is dirt made of? Like, you know, of the plants dying and the fish pooping, like, you know, so it's fine, like, you know. So I don't gravel vac in that, but I know nitrate or ammonia spikes or anything, and I dump food in that tank all the time, like, you know. There's food on the bottom of that tank for my plecos 24/7. I don't get no ammonia spikes or anything from it, and I assume that's because of my plants, like, you know. But I was talking to Chris the other day, and he lost a few of his fry light on about ammonia spikes, and I couldn't see why he was getting ammonia spikes. You know, as long as you've got a cycled filter, a bunch of fry ain't gonna make a difference, like, you know. Well, as long as you've got a cycled tank, you know, a bunch of fry ain't gonna make a difference, like. So I don't see why he was getting ammonia spikes from it. I really don't.
Hey,
I don't get no ammonia spike.
I just want to get,
and I got loads of fish.
I just want to give a quick shout out because I seen Jimmy H joined us. DPK is hanging tough with us, and the aquarium cop is hanging. Let's see if there's anybody I missed in chat.
Every time someone goes to like you were showing us your fish tank, so I went on Google Hangouts to see your fish tank, Dan. I forgot to go back onto YouTube and watch, and yeah, I keep forgetting about.
Yeah, same here.
Like chat.
Thanks for doing the shout out for me there, Happy Guy. That's real good of you.
Yep. So yeah, definitely cool. Man, I dig your first room, Mac. That's amazing how you got it all stacked up.
Well, they're actually all from a local pet shop that shut down, so I grabbed quite a bit of stuff off them when they shut down.
Amazing.
That is the way that, what is it? I seen a video on YouTube and someone was shutting down their store. I don't know, they would get handing over the keys in the morning or something.
Hold on, guys.
The guy was like, all right, no problem. Yeah, I watched a video on YouTube of some guy, and there's a pet store closing, an aquarium store closing down. So he goes there and speaks to the owner, and he's like, oh, so, and the owner's like, oh yeah, I'm closing down, handing over the keys tomorrow. And like, oh, so like, what are you doing with all your stock? Because there was still fish in the tanks and everything, like. And the guy's like, there's nothing I can do about it. I got nowhere to keep it all or anything like that. Like, so the guy's like, oh, what if I give you, can bring some of the boys down and we just tear it all out, like. And he's like, yeah, if you want it, you can have it, like. So he takes down a big van and just loads everything he can fit into the van, like, you know.
Wow.
I believe he only gave him like 25 quid or something for it as well, like.
Crazy. Sometimes you're just at the right place at the right time.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, he couldn't do anything with it. So, and the person who was buying the build, well, you know, purchasing the building off of it, you know, from him or whatever, like taking his keys off of him. I don't even know if he was doing a fish store, so he might have just thrown it all in a tip, like, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes people are just like, get it off my hands.
Well,
what?
He was like just going to leave it there for the next person to clear out. But because the guy was like, oh, what are you doing with it? And he's like, oh, nothing. I'm just going to leave it here. Right? And he's like, well, can I have something? Like, and he's like, take what you want. Like, and he, you know, and he's like, right. So he rang his mates, got a few of the boys down with a big van, and they just started loading all, like, took like 30 odd different tanks, like, and loads of fish, loads of stock in, because he had salt water tanks there. So he had like a load of what is it? What's the rock? I can't remember what the rock's called out of salt water.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I went by a house the other day, and they'd put a huge cardboard sign on the house that said "House foreclosed, must move out in 3 days," right? And you know, I go in there, and you know, they had a garage in the front and they had a garage in the back, you know, on an alleyway. And you know, people were trying to take stuff, but they didn't have a pickup truck, you know. And so I rolled up into the back. I'm like, I'll take this cabinet, I'll take this desk, I'll take, you know, 2 bicycles. You know, I loaded up a whole bunch of stuff. You know, there's a box of jackets. Right. I grabbed that.
Yep.
I think it's amazing. You know, my friends, you know, they'll go buy, I know it's a little off topic, but they'll go buy jackets and they don't buy the right ones, you know. And I'm like, here, this is a better jacket than what you're wearing. So, because where I live, man, we get some sideways blowing snow once in a while. Yeah. But it amazes me. Sometimes you just get in the right place at the right time. You know, that's how I ended up with my fish. I was helping a buddy move, and he was like, damn, I can't take this tank. I swear to God,
when I move back to Britain, I'm going to be keeping an eye out for all pet stores closing down, like, you know. More, like, you know.
I don't know. It blows him away. You know, when he sees what I've done and that, you know, like the 7 months I've been doing this, because he's like, damn, I've been doing fish for like 7 years. Well, he's had fish off and on with his dad because his dad's had saltwater tanks. But yeah, it's funny because he looked at me one day and he was like, Dan, you know, in like 2 months, like you learned more about fish than I figured out all my life. So.
You still don't have a racking system yet, do you? You've just got tanks scattered everywhere.
No, I got 2 racks.
Fair enough.
Well, they're not like three high yet, but I've got plans.
2 high is fine.
I've got plans in my mind to put a 55 above my bed.
Right. Why?
So just so it's there. If it was
Like a bare bottom tank.
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, get a low buy or something. Like, have you seen Jimmy's low buy or even Steamtop's low buy?
Well, somebody had talked about a 40 breeder, which they or a tank that was like, it's like 2 feet wide by 2 feet wide, or they'd say like 16 inches or something, but it's only like 12 inches high.
Yeah. I thought it was wider than that though.
Yeah, I don't know.
I swear,
I was
not.
just, I was just thinking 55, you know, and a 55 would be like 400 pounds.
Yeah, a 55 at 12 inches high ain't bad. A 55 normal size tank, then much point in sticking that on your roof because it's only like a foot wide, foot and a bit wide, like. So, but if you've got a 55 low, whatever they call them, like, then there should be a good footprint on the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have a bare bottom tank and stick it above my bed, like you were saying. Yeah, pretty cool, that.
Yeah. Other than that, I just keep watching my fish make babies. Pretty crazy.
I've been I've been looking after this house I have for a bit, for a week. So I haven't seen my fish in a week. So I wouldn't mind going back and having a look, see how they're doing. Well, my 4 baby bedders and loads of gourami fry. The gouramis take ages to grow though. The bedders are growing so fast, it's unbelievable compared to my gouramis. Like, my gouramis are still little dots, like, in a tank. And my bedders are starting to look like bedders, like, you know? So, yeah, they've got stripes on them. 2 of them are darker, 2 of them are lighter. So we'll see.
You know what I want to figure out is I got 2 super red swordtails, right? A male and a female. Okay. And out in my tank, out in my front living room, I've had a Mickey Mouse platy or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the swordtail mated with the platy.
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. I remember reading about it or something, and you know, I think maybe platies they can, but guppies they couldn't or something. That's what I was reading on.
Yeah.
But well, I think it was.
So now I've got this little fry that's swimming around the tank, right? And he's like bright orange. It's crazy.
Oh well, I don't know. Mickey Mouse platies, and they like the black and.
They have a little Mickey Mouse on their tail.
Yeah. That's. I would probably say though it's not platy fry though. It's probably just because even though you've got red swordtails, it doesn't mean they're always going to be red, like, you know.
Yeah.
That's just the reddest that they had, so that, you know, you got red, like. But I bet you their brothers and sisters weren't all as bright red as yours, like, you know.
Yep. All right. Well, hold on a second. I gotta go grab some water. I see Aquarium Cop is causing ruckus in the chat. I see he says LOL everywhere on the fridge, under the desk. I'm trying to figure out how to put a tank in the bathroom. You know, that one when I go do my bathroom business, I have some fish to mess with. But I don't think they'd get the proper attention, you know.
And Bob put a rack of like 4 tanks, is it? 4 4 tanks high in his bathroom. Could be 3.
I thought
I think
great for water changes, huh?
I don't
Yeah.
really have an issue. I got my water on a hose, and then I got a window next to it, so my water changes are easy. I do flood my tanks out. Water changes because I fall asleep as I'm filling them up, and I wake up in the morning and I got a little paddling pool on the floor. Like I was out within an hour, but I wrecked my table doing it. Oh, Mac's gone altogether, is he? Oh. He said he was muting his mic, not going. Hello, Mac. White Dan, Aqua, Cock. Just passing by, gave thumbs up. Cannot stay long, have to go. Bye till next time. See you, Mac. See you next time. Where'd Mac go, though? Taking over his stream, you know? I'm messaging. Oh. Yeah, I know. He said he was muting his mic, though. And he did. He muted his mic and went off and done something, but then he left altogether. It just froze. Yeah, I'm speaking to him now, so it froze. Dan's in football. Falling asleep during water fill-ups. Do you have a wet back for when that happens? I do. Well, my uncle does, but I live in Spain, so I just open the door, and as long as there's no fresh water being spilt onto the floor, it evaporates in half hour, an hour. But it's not good waking up on your settee and opening your eyes and thinking, what happened? Like, you put your foot down on the floor and it's like, oh my god, what's that? Like, I was gonna ask, I don't know, just something. full in this. Whoa, do your tanks evaporate quickly? I got lids on them, thank God. Oh, not half as much.